Doomsday, a global nuclear war scenario. The fate of the world hangs in the balance, triggered by encrypted communications flashing between national leaders and their military command structures. A chain of events, meticulously planned and rehearsed, now unfolds with terrifying speed. The unthinkable is becoming reality. The President of the United States, faced with irrefutable evidence of an incoming nuclear attack, activates the nuclear football. This grim briefcase connects him directly to the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, initiating the process of nuclear retaliation. The National Military Command Center, the nerve center of American defense, stands ready to relay the President's orders. Authentication is paramount. The President uses the Biscuit, a card containing unique authentication codes, to verify his identity and authority. This crucial step prevents unauthorized use of nuclear weapons, a safeguard against rogue actors or internal sabotage. Attack options are presented: counterforce, targeting enemy military assets; countervalue, aimed at population centers; and the ultimate deterrent, a global strike. The President, after agonizing deliberation, selects the global strike option. This devastating response targets all known nuclear threats, aiming to cripple the enemy's ability to wage further war. Challenge codes and countercodes are exchanged, a final layer of verification to ensure the order's authenticity and prevent any last-minute attempts at sabotage. The authenticated launch order, a document of unimaginable power, is relayed to multiple command centers, including the fortified bunker at Raven Rock Mountain. An emergency war order is generated, containing a comprehensive list of targets, precise launch times, authentication protocols, and unlock codes for the weapon systems. This order is the blueprint for Armageddon. The Emergency Action Message, or EAM, is transmitted globally through the High-Frequency Global Communication System. This coded message alerts nuclear forces around the world to prepare for imminent action. Even British nuclear weapons, integrated into the US Global Strike Plan through decades of close alliance, are now placed on high alert. Across the globe, ICBMs, intercontinental ballistic missiles, rise from their silos, launched from Russia, China, and the United States. The nuclear arsenals of the world are unleashed. In American silos, the two-man rule is strictly enforced, requiring two officers to simultaneously authorize the launch, a final safeguard against unauthorized action. Airborne command posts, specially equipped aircraft carrying senior military leaders, stand ready to remote launch missiles if ground-based command centers are destroyed. These Doomsday planes represent a last-ditch effort to ensure retaliation, even in the face of catastrophic damage. The ICBMs fire their first-stage rocket motors, generating immense thrust as they climb towards the heavens. The missiles accelerate to nearly 15,000 miles per hour, piercing the atmosphere and entering the vacuum of space. Their inertial guidance systems, sophisticated navigation tools, guide them towards their pre-programmed targets. But questions linger about the reliability of Russia's ICBMs, plagued by years of corruption and inadequate maintenance. In China, nuclear forces scramble to mate warheads to missiles, a consequence of their no-first-use policy. This delay could prove fatal in the face of a preemptive strike. In North Korea, the nation's leader is rushed to an underground shelter, a desperate attempt to survive the coming storm. Israel, facing an existential threat, prepares to strike Iran's nuclear infrastructure, a preemptive move to eliminate a potential adversary. French forces, operating under their own command but integrated into the broader Western defense strategy, launch their missiles. The world is teetering on the brink. High above the Earth, ICBMs fire their third-stage motors, fine-tuning their trajectories towards their designated targets. Re-entry vehicles, carrying the nuclear warheads, deploy decoys and countermeasures designed to evade enemy missile defenses. This complex dance of offense and defense plays out in the cold vacuum of space. And missiles coast for up to 20 minutes before beginning their descent back into the atmosphere. This silent period is a moment of terrifying anticipation. Missile defense systems, if they exist, attempt to intercept the incoming warheads, but saturation attacks, overwhelming numbers of missiles, are designed to ensure penetration. North Korean missiles, primitive but deadly, are fired, adding to the chaos and uncertainty. Pakistan, locked in a bitter rivalry with India, fires nuclear-tipped missiles at Indian military bases, escalating the regional conflict to a global scale. India, in turn, prepares ballistic missiles for launch, dividing its focus between Pakistan and China. Beneath the oceans, American, British, French, and Russian submarines prepare to launch their own nuclear payloads. These underwater behemoths represent a second strike capability, ensuring retaliation even if land-based forces are destroyed. French submarines fire M51 missiles at targets within Russia, contributing to the overall devastation. UK and American submarines launch Trident II missiles, some of the most advanced and accurate nuclear weapons in the world. These missiles are designed to obliterate hardened targets, such as missile silos and command bunkers. The die is cast. Trident II missiles, streaking through the atmosphere, devastate Russian missile fields and air bases. The goal is to eliminate Russia's ability to launch a counterattack. Most Russian strategic bombers are destroyed before they can even take to the skies, a crippling blow to their retaliatory capabilities. However, Russian submarine-launched missiles reach their targets in the United States, inflicting immense damage. American strategic bombers, while suffering heavy losses, manage to survive in greater numbers due to their wide dispersal across multiple airfields. Washington, D.C., the seat of American power, is targeted by multiple missiles, its destruction all but assured. Senior U.S. government officials, following predetermined protocols, flee the city, seeking refuge in underground bunkers and mobile command centers. Russian and Chinese strikes on the U.S. are uncoordinated, leading to target overlap and a less efficient use of their nuclear arsenals. American ICBMs, in turn, target Chinese missile fields, attempting to neutralize their nuclear threat. 80% of US-ready weapons are targeted at Russia, reflecting the long-standing strategic rivalry between the two nations. American weapons are programmed to use ground bursts for missile fields, maximizing the destructive force against hardened targets, and air bursts for cities, maximizing the area of devastation. Over 250 million people die in the initial attacks, a staggering loss of life. Russian submarine-launched missiles blanket American cities and military bases, turning them into infernos. Multiple independently targetable re-entry vehicles, or MIRVs, create firestorms, consuming everything in their path. Major cities are reduced to rubble, strategic air bases are obliterated, and key port facilities vanish from the map. Nuclear weapon storage sites, research centers, and production facilities are targeted, aiming to destroy the enemy's ability to rebuild their nuclear arsenal. The goal is to ensure that they can never again pose a nuclear threat. Secret reserves of nuclear weapons are kept for post-apocalyptic scenarios, a grim reminder of the long-term consequences of nuclear war. European cities, caught in the crossfire, are targeted as secondary targets, collateral damage in the global conflict. Shorter-range Russian weapons create a carpet of destruction across Western Europe, turning once thriving nations into radioactive wastelands. In a desperate attempt to stem the tide, F-16s from Turkey, armed with American nuclear bombs, strike targets in southern Russia. French, British, and American aircraft launch nuclear-tipped cruise missiles into Russia, further escalating the conflict. American F-16s, carrying gravity bombs, strike deep into Russian territory, targeting key infrastructure and military installations. Satellites, the eyes and ears of the world, are disabled by a Russian nuclear anti-satellite weapon, plunging the world into darkness and disrupting communication networks. India, reeling from Pakistani attacks, carries out a large-scale nuclear retaliation against Pakistan, turning the subcontinent into a nuclear battlefield. Israeli nuclear bombs destroy Iranian military and missile sites, eliminating a long-standing threat. American strategic bombers penetrate Chinese airspace, facing fierce resistance from Chinese air defenses. Beijing and Shanghai, two of China's largest and most important cities, are destroyed, crippling the nation's economy and infrastructure. The Three Gorges Dam, a symbol of Chinese engineering prowess, is destroyed, causing a catastrophic flood that devastates vast swathes of the country. Russian bombers, in a desperate attempt to cripple the American food supply, destroy farmland in the American Midwest, aiming to starve the US into submission. Strategic nuclear strikes continue, targeting second- and third-tier targets as the warring nations attempt to inflict maximum damage on each other. India and Pakistan continue their nuclear war, a regional conflict spiraling out of control. But eventually, the nuclear strikes cease, as stockpiles are exhausted or destroyed. Mass migrations out of cities begin, as survivors desperately seek refuge from the radiation and devastation. Much of America's military infrastructure remains intact, a consequence of Russian missile readiness issues and targeting inefficiencies. The US continues using strategic bomber forces to deliver further nuclear attacks, a grim testament to its enduring military power. After the first week, the world is silent, with over 4,000 nuclear strikes carried out, leaving a trail of destruction unlike anything humanity has ever witnessed. Europeans flee south to Africa, seeking refuge from the radioactive fallout, while Americans flee to the southern hemisphere, hoping to find a safe haven. Massive radiation storms are created, blanketing the Earth in deadly fallout. Earth's weather patterns are drastically altered, leading to global cooling, a nuclear winter that threatens to extinguish all life. Sunlight is cut in half, leading to a dramatic drop in crop productivity, threatening mass starvation. Extreme weather feeds continent-spanning superfires, consuming what little remains of the natural world. Radiation storms spread radioactive dust around the planet, poisoning the land and water. Survivors face a lengthy period of global cooling and crop collapse, a struggle for survival against overwhelming odds. Radiation poisons humanity's survivors, leading to widespread illness and genetic mutations. Small groups may survive, scattered across the globe, but they will inherit a world that will take thousands of years to become habitable again. The legacy of nuclear war is a planet scarred beyond recognition, a chilling reminder of humanity's capacity for self-destruction.